That was a nice generic countdown for our new show, The Practical Traveler. Erica, I thought about naming this show The Chatty Traveler because it's really going to be us just chatting. But it's going to be chatting about practical stuff mostly.
I like it.
Well, I was saying like the whole reason I thought of doing this was because this is the part that that's I'd say at least glamorous. This is like the planning stages. This is like when you're thinking about going on a trip and you need to, hash out your what you're going to do. Think about it ahead of time. We certainly had a lot of experience with that over our untethered episodes.
Oh, yes, huh?
Yeah, and we ended up just talking about it during the middle of the show, and I was like, well, why don't we just do a whole show where we're talking about that, and that way we can, during the show we can just have fun.
That makes sense. I like it, and I'm all about some planning, especially with all kinds of stuff happening and everything.
Yeah, well, hopefully not as much stuff as we are untethered days.
Oh my God, yeah, not panic mode, but still being awesome as hell kind of a stuff that was happening with untethered episodes. Because come on, that was pretty damn cool. It was also a nightmare. It was like the nightmare cool.
Right, it's cool in a nightmare. We need if we could just crack out the nightmare and keep the cool travel, that would be great. Well, this is our inaugural episode. I tried to do one last week, and I actually did it, and I just took it down because the audio was off. And I did it at the local bar here. I thought that would be a cute thing to do, and I don't think it was the bar noise. The microphone that I used didn't work, and maybe I could make one to work, and that would be fine. But also in a bar or I think a coffee shop too, I don't think the Wi-Fi is going to be strong enough. Like we seem to have, let me knock on some wood here. We seem to have a good connection right now. So maybe it's best just to do it here from my humble home that you see behind me. Yeah. Just do it from here because obviously every other episode is going to be us traveling. So, and this is going to be a lot of, us talking and searching things on the internet. I don't know how much planning we're going to do this time, but you've got the time. I've got the time to sit here for almost 2 hours before I have to go to work.
Right. So, and this is exactly how you would plan for something. Anyway, you wouldn't always be at the coffee shop or out anywhere else using anybody, but you'd be at home going, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to plan it? How much is this? Or when is this thing? You know what I mean? Like you do it at home anyway. So.
I've done a lot of planning, travel planning from bars because this is when I lived in China and had some disposable income. I'd get drunk with friends and like, let's go to Thailand. Yeah, that's a great idea. Or let's go to Shanghai. And we've got the tickets booked by the next morning and don't even remember what we said we did it. But happened a few times. But that was when my income versus the cost of travel was, there's a substantial difference there. But I make a little less now here in Vietnam. And but I'm actually closer to a lot of the stuff that I want to do, so maybe the cost won't end up being too high. That's what we're going to find out here. And I also thought, at first I thought, well, this isn't when we really need to do live. This is, we live stream normally, but this one we can just do in post to show what we did while we were planning. And then I thought, well, this may be the one where people actually have questions. Should people tune in to the stream, they might go, well, or suggestions even, there's a lot of ideas out there. If people, if we get to a point where people are watching the live streams, then there may be some things that they want to say. And then this may have low replayability, value, but in the future, at some point, when people know they're coming and know what we're doing, they may want to watch live and actually ask questions and or make suggestions, which could be useful to us. I thought. Well, before we started too, I went online and I was like trying to think of what things should we talk about in the travel planning. And I got a lot of I got a lot of suggestions. I found a lot of suggestions that I don't think are, are going to happen, but some of them will. So one thing is like most YouTube channels are geared very heavily towards we're going to give you advice for how to do this, and I definitely going to have some advice, no doubt, to give people, but I don't want to center the whole show around that, because generally travel advice and giving travel advice is really bad. It's just not a very good idea, because every trip you take and every place you go is going to be different. And that's not just me saying, oh, the world is so unique. You just know. But it's just like there's too many little differences between countries and between destinations, times of the year, and now versus 5 years ago. I find a lot of travel advice tries to be too specific. I can probably say some general things, but I don't think an advice channel. More just like watch and see what's going on and what the troubles we encounter or the things we encounter, and let that help you and guide you in your experience, rather than just trying to tell people this is always going to be the right answer.
Right, because there's not a one size fits all for that. Like, because it's going to be completely different if you're going to Prague versus Malaysia.
Right, exactly. I think for American travelers anyway, because America is so uniform, I guess is the right word. From you've got a huge expanse of space that everyone speaks the same language and uses the same currency, and driving regulations are the same wherever you go, and they're just you do get the impression when you travel across America that there's just one size fits all answers, because there a lot between New York and LA. There's a lot that's going to be the same, so you don't really have to adjust too much. But that's not true outside once you leave the country. Once you cross the border or fly somewhere, all the rules are different and things change fairly quickly. And yeah.
Yep, and as we learned over the Untethered episodes, because of pandemic things in general, all of the regulations and the rules and everything were just everywhere, all over the place for every country.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was the perfect example of everyone has their own set of rules. It doesn't do any good to say, well, that last country did it this way. I don't care. Not at all.
Like, I mean, if you want to tell people how to army roll their clothes to fit in a bag, there you go. That's something that goes with everything, I guess. But like,
that's what Terry did for my clothes. I thought it was so funny. He army rolled everything. I was like, good, great, it got here. That's all I don't care about.
Because that's the best way to make it all fit.
That is the best way to pack the most into your luggage. I was going to hit on that because that is, of course, one of the things that came up was tell people how to pack their luggage. And I'm like, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that piece of advice rather than actually tell them how to do it. But I'm going to start at the top of my list. This was the first one. Why travel is important. I'm going to get some water because I already feel like getting scratchy. Oh, I have a Coke in there. I forgot I got a Coke. Okay. Why is travel important, Derek? What do you think?
In general, to experience other cultures or to see beautiful things, taste really good things, meet different types of people. I put the see pretty and taste good before the people thing because I love food.
Well, too, it's also like language learning is not easy. Let me tell you. And if you're going to travel to a country where they don't speak your language, I assume everyone watching right now is an English speaker. Maybe you don't only speak English, but if you do not speak the language of the place that you're going, you got to learn it before you really meet people and get to know them. And that's not easy. So I would put it lower on the list just because it's the least likely to happen. But one good trick would be to try and find people online, like meet people online. However people do that. I don't meet people online. I don't do social media. But But if you know how to do that shit, then get online and find some people and meet them in the place that you're going.
Yeah, my friend just got back from Ethiopia, and of course was like bombarding all of his pictures and posts with like love, and one of his tour guides from there added me on Facebook.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, oh my God, if I ever, could ever make it to Ethiopia, this guy could be my tour guide.
Well, that's fun, and that is also I think a good piece of advice too. Like doing tours, we switched this to be the tourist channel, and I'm probably going to be doing most of our own tours. But don't be afraid to do a tour. Like I think a lot of people don't want to do it because this by definition that is the touristy thing. But
right, some places you need to do that. Like some places you have to do that. Like I'm not going to just walk on out into I don't know, anywhere in Ethiopia and think that I'm okay to do anything on my own. You know what I mean?
Right. And well, the other thing is like tours are like anything else. I think they have a bad rap because there are bad tours out there, but they're like anything else. There's good versions and then there's bad versions. There's good tours and then there's not so great tours. I feel like I should get out of the room. Sorry. Let's represent Hanoi since we're talking about travel. I'm in Hanoi
now. Cute.
So so if you get the 50-person tour on the giant Greyhound bus that takes you to the top 3 sites and then tries to sell you some trinkets, you're probably not going to enjoy it. You're not going to have a good time. If you get a small tour of like a half dozen people, which is very popular here in Hanoi. In fact, this island that I live on, the restaurants here, one of the big currently popular foods that was only invented about 20 years ago called pho kun. It was invented here on this island, and the whole island is full of those restaurants that serve just that. And so the tours that come in all the time, I don't want to say they fill up the streets because it's also just local people coming. But on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, the center of the island is blocked off to car and bike traffic, and the streets are just full of tables of tours come in, and they're not Greyhound bus tours. They're like Jeeps or sometimes bike tours. Honestly, I think some of them are walking tours because I don't see what they came here in, but it's like a half-hour walk from the historic district, so they could be walking tours. But they get tons of people come up here, and it's just enough people to fill up one table. Sometimes it's just one family.
Yes, that's much better. And I think he was singularly on this tour with this guy. I think that he really like pre-planned that, and like I know we had to have spent a good bit. I know he had to, but it's not like he flaunts, look at this, I could do this, but he is making it a point to, to get some bucket list things done. But I didn't see anybody else on any of these things with him. He definitely would have at least shown another person that would be doing the tour, but like it was like some involved stuff. Like he did looming in a village, and he's got pictures of him with machine guns with leaders of tribes and stuff. Like the tribe leader had him hold a machine gun and pose with his wife and stuff. I was like, dude, whatever you pay for, I don't even care. It was worth it because that whole trip.
Right. Neat. That's neat.
But that's planning though. That's you plan that for months, and saved up and did that one. But like you can plan, something where you got to at least know what you're getting into. Like you were talking about with the language, you have to at least know that. And the only reason I thought about Prague earlier is because the other friend had been all over different other European type places. Okay. And of course she was fine to get to anywhere, but she went to Prague to go to the hotel that Queen Latifah went to in the movie Last Holiday, because I love that thing. And it was a real thing. And she goes, wait, this is a real thing. Look. And so she went to it for me, but where she was, they do not speak English. And there was nobody that could help her around there.
Right.
Not one person. She was starting to like panic. And eventually she she figured it out, and it was basically just on her own and doing some translate stuff, and then got there. But you got to be like, I guess she thought it was going to be the same because it was everywhere else. Like, oh, I was like, no, that's a little offshoot.
Right, that's the thing. It's like I think living in Chenzhou for 5 years is what made me appreciate that. And now I really like being in places where there are no other tourists. But I got to say, I also like to be a tourist. Like in Chenzhou is really nice because that's a city that's in southern Hunan province. It's just across the border from Guangdong province, which is where the big southern China cities are. Maybe I'm not sure if most people, but some people are familiar with Shenzhen and Guangdong, Guangzhou, and also in that same area is Hong Kong and Macau, which are much more famous. But Shenzhou is about an hour and a half from Guangzhou, which is the northernmost of those cities, and yeah, just that hour and a half made all the difference. Not a lot of foreigners stopping in Shenzhou. And it meant that, of course, it made things more difficult because people don't speak English. But everything, nothing is geared towards tourists there in any capacity. But also, that what you're seeing is real. It's the real China. It's not just dressed up and and it's not westernized either. But it was also fun to get on the train for an hour and a half and be in Guangzhou, which is one of the best. To me, one of the best Chinese tourist cities in China, because it's not quite as famous as Shanghai or Beijing, but it is. It's older. It's older than both of those cities put together. I don't know how you add age, but anyway, it's older than both of those. So it's got lots of sites and lots of stuff to do, and it is, because it's so big, it is westernized. I mean, not westernized, but it has like Western stuff. So you won't sit there and be confused about how to get around or whatever.
Well, there's like a lot of shopping there, right? Or some type of commerce there, because like big commerce, because I bought a bunch of stuff from there. Online.
Oh yeah, but what you're really buying from is the Pearl River Delta area, which is outside of the big city. The stuff that's manufactured is actually probably manufactured in the area between Foshan and Zhuhai, which is to say, like, start going south from Guangzhou on the west side of the river delta, and that whole area is major manufacturing.
I'm just saying, like on whenever I buy anything, and they'll have like the list of where it came from. They just put Guangzhou on there every time.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, they're like, here it is. This is it right here. They're like, you're in the U.S., you won't know anyway. You people do not understand geography nor anything else, so you won't ever know.
On the other side of the river delta is Shenzhen, and that's where a lot of electronics come out of. That's the major electronics source. So if you bought something that's electronics, it probably came from there. But they all probably, I'm guessing, came out of the Guangzhou port area. So all be stamped Guangzhou. Well, my answer for why is travel important was going to be it's not. Just to play devil's advocate. It's a great way to enjoy yourself. It's a great way to learn about the world. I think if you do it right, it's a way to improve yourself as a person, learn and expand your mind and all those things. But also, like, it's not important that you do it. You don't have to do it. I hate the sorts of travel advice channels and things that seem to chastise you for not traveling. Oh, you're not very well traveled. I've heard from people, especially British people, that say, I've heard most Americans don't even have a passport. I'm like, yeah, but that's because you can drive for like 36 hours straight and still be in the United States.
Right. And over there, when you can get around over there to other areas, because they actually have the tube. They have transport, and we don't have that here. I mean, and also, I don't like that kind of snobbery.
Right. It is.
Not
It's
everybody can afford that
crap. Yeah, that's why I don't like this idea. But it was something that came up when I was, trying to.
You know what, though? When you mention travel, though, whenever you travel, I feel like I do. And then I thought about it. Wait, no, I'm not traveling, but it seems like I have. And people think I have because I know about places. Okay. And I know about their different cultures and everything is because I want to know. So
Mm.
a lot of the reason that U.S. people don't do that is because not everybody here is an inquiring mind that gives a damn about anything else other than their hometown sometimes. But
Yeah,
it's very
right.
limited. It's not just everyone here. Also, plenty of Europeans don't want to go anywhere either. So if anyone's like a Brit that's like, oh, oi, in it, no, seriously, why, why, why don't you have a passport?
Great.
Whatever.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I'm hearing this from people who are traveling because I wasn't in Britain while I was meeting these people. So I was meeting people while traveling, and they say stuff like that. I'm like, Britain's not that much different.
Right.
Plenty of people who are not interested. But to me, that's the important thing: the interest in the world. You can be interested in the world and learn a lot from your laptop if you want to learn
Mhm.
about the local library. I don't think we will do that anymore. Get on your laptop and log on to your local library. And then there are plenty of people who travel and isolate themselves from the culture and don't learn anything about it, and they're just doing it so that they can tell their neighbors they did it.
Right. Right. A
So
status thing. And that's some weird, like there's different reasons people do all kinds of crap. You know what I mean? But travel is definitely a privilege. For a lot of people, some people it's a necessity. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
most people it is a freaking privilege.
right, yeah,
For you, it was a necessity, and it is literally a part of your job, and your livelihood. Plus,
yeah.
you've always been like, yeah, I'm not staying in this trashy place, and by that I mean the U.S.
The U.S. Right? Yeah, I was thinking earlier today how I'm still happy I was able to get out.
I
And I was thinking about
know.
the conditions under which I left, which we've already done a whole episode on that, so we won't. But that was the the night market in Phnom Penh. We just took that whole episode and like ran down how I got to where I am now. So if anybody's interested on the channel, you can look up Phnom Penh and look for the
Like it
night
is
market.
very interesting. Yes. Wait, say it again. Night market.
The
Yeah.
night market in Phnom Penh. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's some interesting stuff of how you got. Come on, that was 3 years stranded all through Southeast Asia, but
Yeah.
like I don't know, it was other people could not do it. There's plenty of people could not do it. Okay, but you pulled it off.
Well,
And did shows during it, and everybody learned and saw the coolest things. And
yeah.
sometimes the saddest or the most somber things, but like I don't know, it was amazing
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
scary.
Speaking of Phnom Penh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
something
everywhere.
great to learn. To me, travel is not what's important, but it is a way to achieve the goal of learning about the world. And one of the things I wanted to do with the channel is be able to put something. I'm sure we won't be the Encyclopedia Britannica, but to put something on there that can let people see and experience the world in a way and maybe a volume that they wouldn't normally get to do. And for people who are going to be able to travel, it's a way for you to look at the place before you go without all the filters that, edited videos. Because I love to watch my travel videos on YouTube. No, I'm not knocking them, but I'm also well aware, especially when I see a place that I've been and they're showing it on the channel, and I'm like, it didn't really look like that. They're not lying. They're showing you selectively something that looks nice because they want their video to look nice, and I get that. But also, like, I want to show the warts and everything else that's going on, because if you're actually doing research for your travel, you want to see what it actually looks like.
Mm-hmm. The real deal.
The real deal, exactly. How about this one? The benefits of traveling. You got any
Ooh,
thoughts on that?
benefits. Well, you know what? Because you said the reason, but I think I was giving benefits rather than the reason or
Yeah.
the usefulness. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like travel, the importance is different. Okay. Yeah, because there's different wording for it. You see what I mean, right? Because if we were going to write
Yeah.
essays on this, we'd go, wait a minute. Okay, so importance is different than the benefit of it, because one of the benefits is learning other cultures or meeting other people. Yeah, experiencing things outside of your limited area.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. I think they tie in because what I said was like it's not really important that you travel, but one of the benefits of travel is, that you learn about the world and get have it to have experiences that you wouldn't normally have. I think that's beneficial.
Yes, yes.
This self-improvement thing. Yeah, I think so. Um, I mean, a less uh, heady sounding benefit is you get to try a lot of food, a lot of good food, and a lot of
I
food
mean,
in general.
I think that is a huge, important, very, very big time benefit.
Really good. And that's our other little show. We're starting in case anybody is watching in the future, we're starting 2 weekly, or hopefully they'll be weekly, but we'll talk about whether or not we want to do them every week. I don't know. But I think the food one, it's easy to do a weekly food thing. And
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to put it about an hour, and it's going to be live because why is it going to be live?
Are you talking about the one that's coming up?
Yeah, like we're going to do a food episode tomorrow, and there's a lot we need to talk about doing that too. Should we take a break from my list and talk about that now? Because I didn't really have it on or I can just I can just put it on the end. Let's do that.
Yeah, put it on the end, but also like you mean why is it important to do it live, or why should you do food videos like this, or videos like this, but why do them live for food?
Right, like
Because
is
it's
it? I
like
guess it's just
experiencing eating it with the person. Like obviously you're not gonna do some kind of like a GoPro where they watch you down the food, although that would be hilarious for some of the things.
well.
But
I'm going to try and avoid it becoming like those videos of Japanese women cramming huge amounts of noodles into the mouth. I don't want that to be. I'm
mukbang,
going to focus
isn't it
on the food.
mukbang? Yeah, or those are even worse because those are specifically kind of fetishy.
Right. Yeah,
I have
obviously.
watched I think other people are not calling it. I don't know if it's mukbang or whatever it is. Um, those are actually fun too. But yeah, you're not talking about doing that. But it's like the experience of you eating the food and what's happening at that time, because there's a different ambiance over there than
Yeah.
here. Oh my God,
I,
like you were on with me and you were in Malaysia and they asked you if that was your relative next door and you were still eating all your food and stuff like that. That was funny. And it was, and then also the food looked good, and then so but I like
well,
all
I
the
mean,
food.
so generally the reason to do these things live is that there's going to be some kind of interaction. I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know how much interaction there would be for the live. I would still do them through StreamYard, but we can set them to record instead of do it live, and then I could just edit it down later. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, are you talking about for each time or like just for the one coming up?
Oh no, I mean like it just as a regular thing. Do you think that the persistent explorer, it's just a different, I'm saying a different show, it's just a different playlist, but a different show that's on our channel. Do you think it's worth there's any value in doing it live, or do you think it's better recorded and then edited later?
Well,
I can let you think about it. You have to answer now.
right, or and also can you flip flop it and do and choose which ones might be better edited and might be better live?
You mean just episode by episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all
Because
right, so let's
okay,
talk about
I know I
yeah.
hate to keep on like bringing up other people or other things, but there's this guy that I watched that's from, I don't know if he's British, I don't know, he's from somewhere, I don't know, but pick a place. But he's adorable, and his friend also maybe Welsh, I think. But anyway, they were traveling Japan, yada yada. This guy's been there forever, but sometimes their videos are live, like they were just at a festival, and it's just off the cuff kind of stuff, and then sometimes they have edited ones. It makes sense, and also it makes it interesting because you never know what you're gonna get.
Okay. Well, some of ours will be. I mean, we'll definitely still have some mix of edited videos and live stream videos. I think I want to keep the live thing for a lot of stuff because I think if you're as I said, like I don't like calling it an advice channel. It's more like a, tune in and see what's going on channel, and get your you make your own advice. Like you see what it is, and then you go, oh, okay, I see. So now I know something for my travels. But the live is what allows you to, be on the computer and see us doing it, and then type in, well, hey, what's that, or what happened with this, or what's your advice on that? Specific questions I can give advice on, but the general advice, I'm a big fan of. I think we did benefits of travel. How about this one? How to overcome travel anxiety.
Benzodiazepines.
I mean, yeah, right. If you're having anxiety and you have to travel,
right. I mean, everything's going to be scary when it's something new. But that is why you plan as much as you can. Of course, you know what? Some people don't calm themselves with planning, but I don't see how they could not. Because I'm telling you, you can't plan too much, because you need to be, you have to have a plan and then a backup for the backup for the backup, because something's going to happen. Don't think it ain't, because something's going to happen.
Right. I was just saying on the last stream we did with Scott, I was just saying that a lot of people, they want to impress their neighbors, so they travel to the most exotic place they can possibly afford. But by doing that, they sap their budget, and like that's your cushion for emergencies, is to have money put aside. And I can tell you from experience too that you need to have different ways to access that money, because we certainly have that problem. Because what you think is going to be an easy way to get to your money while you're traveling may turn out not to be. That debit card might not work. That credit card might not work. Those traveler's checks might not be accepted where you're at. You do all those things to have backups. So that's, to me, that's the only real source of travel anxiety, is to not have access to money and not have
or
any
meds.
money.
You got to make sure that you have stuff ready to just in case you get sick.
Yeah, and it's hard to know too. It's hard to know because we think if it's not the American system, then they're not going to have the medicines that I need. But
they do. They'll have something. And
yeah, and I hate to say that for every place on the planet. The places I've been, I haven't had any problem. East Asia and Southeast Asia, that's not a place where they don't have medicine. But I'm sure somewhere in the world it might be difficult to get to. So do your research and know if you're going to be able to access it, and just take as much with you as you can.
Right. Whatever you can take with you, like you're just going to have them fumble through your crap at the airport. They're going to search through your crap, and they will here. I don't know about everywhere else. I guess they do. They're like, okay, what's this for? Looking at it, making sure you're not like bringing heroin or something.
Well, yeah.
Like, no, this is my diarrhea medicine. It's okay.
I had right here. This was the thing that was this when I came into Vietnam, or I think it was. I think when I came through Vietnam, I had taken my daily vitamins out of the bottle, so they were just in a Ziploc bag, and they were kind of eyeing them, but they didn't say anything. I guess because they look like the individual pills look like vitamins from the shelf. So.
Oh yeah, and that was a big old vitamin thing you got too.
Yeah, we got like the 400 one. I
was like, yes, get those, because it was a good deal. And I was like, you're going to need to take your vitamins indefinitely all the time. Just take them. Because I'm worried about you getting the right amount of nutrients, but still eating as cheap as you could, but have the nutrients. And the way we found any of that stuff is online through those the common drugstores. There were the two common drugstores. What were they? There was like, did one of them start with one of them didn't start with a W or an S or something? What was it? What was one of those drugstores?
Where in Japan?
In where?
Where was it? Where are you asking?
Oh no, in like.
Oh, you're talking about Watson's and
Watson's. It was a W. It was Watson's. Yep. There was something else though. But yeah, it was actually easier to find. It was a lot easier to find anything in any other place except for Saipan Then
Yeah.
now, which is funny because it's a territory, right? It's U.S. territory. But then you could get medical and food assistance there. It's just
Yeah.
you're going to get what they got. This is what we got.
Get the assistance, but they're gonna have to ship in whatever you need.
Right, but
I
they
would
didn't have
say,
your meds. They had, and I guess if there was something specific and very critical, you get it from Hawaii, and they would have to for something big time though, you know what I mean. But if you needed if you needed gout medication, you found it. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah,
you were.
I was
I will
what?
find this other pharmacy. I'm gonna find this other thing because it was another one, not just the Watsons, because the Watsons was everywhere.
Manning.
What was
Well,
it?
in Hong Kong, it's Manning. I'm almost sure. I'm looking it up because now I have to know.
Oh, okay. Because I was
Manning's
like,
is
I remember.
Manning's.
I remember Watsons was just like, oh, look, if they have that, we know they've got stuff.
Mannings, Mannings, and it's almost as popular in Hong Kong as Watson's is. But the Watsons, you tend to see them everywhere.
Right. I remember though when you were in Hong Kong because we were looking at the list and it just had both of those peppered in everywhere. It was like, tick, 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 tick.
Oh yeah, we've got here. Look at this. Well, before I say that, let me see. Well, oh no, these are not. So okay, so Vietnam does not have Watsons. In fact, I don't think. Yeah, not in the whole country. Thailand does. Of course, China does. The rest of China. Yeah. I feel like they were in Philippines too. Anyway, that's not really not really the topic. But yeah, there were two big ones in Hong Kong. My answer for travel anxiety, for people who are leisure traveling, if they really experience substantial anxiety from travel, I just say don't travel. I guess that's like the joke where you go to the doctor and say it hurts when I do this, and the doctor says, "Well, don't do that."
Right.
But
I mean, unless you have to. I mean, you're not having to. You don't have anything to prove to anyone. If you want to know about other stuff, you can. You can travel in your mind. No, seriously though, you can travel online. Like you don't have to put yourself through anything. But if you want to make it a thing to overcome, you're gonna have to just do it.
just do it. Now, if it's just it's normal to have a little bit of anxiety when you are doing something new and experiencing something new. So I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. But if you're having trouble dealing with the anxiety, then that's not really about travel. You need to shrink.
Right. That's why I was like, well, yes, get some drugs, have some counseling. But I mean, everybody, there should be a little bit of nervousness and apprehension about anything you do when you're traveling anywhere. Like even when I'm going to Atlanta, I'm going to have things pre-planned over here. Actually, especially when I do, because my anxiety for that would be, even if that I didn't live here, I'd be like, well, I read that the traffic sucks, but and then I need to get out of Atlanta before 3 p.m. because after 3:30, I'll be stuck there until 7:30 or 8 in traffic, trying to head to wherever that other metro area.
Yeah. All right.
Oh.
How to choose the right travel destination for you. That's you. I'm kind of letting you do the first answer on all of these because I looked at all of them and I went, What do you think? How to choose the right travel destination?
Okay, how to choose a place I'm traveling to?
Yeah.
Well, just pure selfishness and what I want. Like if you have to take other people with you, I guess you got to worry about what they want, whatever. But but my kids would be subject to whatever I say anyway. I'd be like, yeah, we're just gonna go here because I want to look at this. But how to choose? It's okay. Convenience. No, I know that sounds stupid, but start with the most convenient places and then go to the others. You know what I mean? And also start with the simplest places, I think. I think that would be ways to choose it. And then also the things that you want the most, though, which probably don't coincide with the first two things I said, though, because because obviously, simply, I could like go to like, I would like to go to Montana. Okay, that'd be easy. It's probably super simple over here, right? But I really want to go to Jamaica and like just lay out on the beach. That's completely different. And that would be
and then Jamaica. I think we're two different places.
Newsflash, guys. Montana and Jamaica are not the same, no matter what you think.
An excellent takeaway for anyone viewing. Well, yeah, I mean, so there was a lot of where you want to go in there. I agree. I think a lot of people, and I think the reason that question popped up on my little list, I think a lot of people travel based on you might think it's a joke, but rich people are weird, because I worked for American Express Platinum Travel Service for like a year, and they tell you that people travel based on what, or choose their travel based on what they think their neighbors are doing, or their peers are doing, because they want to be in the do with the thing, the trendy thing that everyone else is doing. So like, I guess so they can tell everyone they did it. I don't know. If that's what you want, why don't you just lie? Just be like, yeah, I went there, it was great, I'm great too, done. I don't
right.
get,
You could fake a picture even.
That's right.
Like, how would they know?
Now you really need to leave the house. I don't get the mentality. Who is traveling based on this thing?
My aunt and uncle do that crap all the time. Like, I know for a fact that they hated wherever, I can't even remember what hot climate they went to, but I know that they either only went because she was getting plastic surgery and they needed to cover up for it, for several weeks, so she'd come back and you wouldn't see the cuts, or they did it because everybody else, goes there. And I cannot for the life of me remember what it was, but
it's true.
I remember all they talked about that place was how hot it was. Oh, it was so steaming, moist, and hot. Oh my God. I can't even do her voice. Like, she's like old money South. So I'm like, oh, Erica, it's lovely to see you, that kind of thing. So anyway, they were, because when they came here, when Daddy was dying and they came to say goodbye and things like that, they were melting outside. It was actually hilarious. I was like, wow, this is actually a distraction. You people are hilarious. Because they were like, oh no. We got to get a breeze here. And I'm like, you came here, it's hot, man. It's freaking June, dude. You're in Georgia.
Where do they are Southern, but where do they live?
They're from freaking South Carolina, but they never do anything outdoors. And they had to be outside for a bit because a lot of people were there at the house, in and out. And I think it made them uncomfortable to be in the house because they didn't want to experience it. And I'm like, oh, because it's all about them. You know what I mean? Oh no. So they're standing outside trying to talk to me. And I'm just sitting on the porch and I'm like, I'm drinking some tea and and Paula's like, oh, Lord. Oh, the foliage is lovely here, though. And I'm like, yes, I know you love it at our trailer home, right? And then they like were there for maybe an hour, melted outside, and said, well, we're heading back to the hotel and getting in that air conditioning. And I'm like, we have air conditioning inside. You just don't want to be inside. It was just funny. But those are the type of people that also go and do stuff, and they go to the place wanting it to be like where they're from and be comfortable, and then they're pissy about it when they get there and it's so hot or so cold or whatever.
Yeah, that leads me back to my original. Not everybody should travel. It's not for everybody. It's there's some people who don't like it. They will find it unpleasant. They will have anxiety, and it's just. Not every,
oh my God. And also, not to bag on the rich people, but it is about the rich people. Like, these people, like, they've been to Greece and they just act like it's nothing. And they're like, yeah, it's lovely, it's pretty. That's it. And then but I'm like, well, what did you do there? I just ate something. Then we came back. I'm like, what the hell? Like,
just ate something and came back.
like the way that they experience it and their take on it is completely different than somebody who would really truly appreciate it. Not that rich people aren't appreciating it. I'm just saying when it comes so easy to you, you're not going to appreciate it as much.
That's right. Yeah, it's true. I agree, and that brings me to my answer too. How to choose the right destination for you. So there's only two people that are two kinds of people that are confused about where they should go. People who don't really want to go in the first place, so they don't have anything in mind, and people who have such a flood of things in their mind that they can't. They got options paralysis. And so for the first group, I mean, I just say stay home. That's just not, if you don't have any place that you think of that you think, I really want to go do, that thing, then you don't need to go anywhere.
Right.
Save your money, stay at home, or if you want to go someplace close by, just drive up the road or something. It's just you don't need to do this. It's not, it doesn't make you a better person for doing it. If you want to impress, just lie about it. Photoshop yourself on the Machu Picchu or something.
Oh yeah, my friend went there too. Like I'm telling you, he had some bucket list things, dude. I was like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, because he really wanted to go there though. Like, do not. Oh, he went to Jordan and ran a marathon. My butt ain't wanting to do that. You know what I mean? Like, so my butt ain't wanting to do that.
Right. That's not on your list. Well, I used to scoff at the bucket list idea, but it does point out that people want to do different things.
Yes.
Not everybody's list is the same. But I would say that I think there's some advice to give of choosing the right destination, but it has more to do with practical matters. Like, do some research on when the weather is, like what your budget is, what the weather is going to be like when you can go. Most people have like a time, some sort of pretty set time they can take their vacation. So do your research. Out of your long list, if you have the long list of places to go, start striking off, the ones that don't fit, because if you really, really want to go, but the weather is going to be terrible, still strike it off the list, because the weather is not going to be pleasant while you're there. So just accept that's at some point in the future. So if you can strike things off for the budget, for budgetary reasons, if you can strike things off for weather-related or seasonal reasons, then that's a good way to narrow down the list. And then whatever's left on it, you could prioritize rank on, like, what's the thing you want to see the most, and what it's going to cost. I mean, I hate to say it because the cheapest places tend to get the most traffic, but there's a reason for that.
Well, one of the places I'll end up going first is like Vietnam is not first on the list, but it's definitely on the list. But I would definitely go there first because you're there.
Oh, right. Sure. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, where do you have connections? That makes a big difference. And if you don't have connections, then start trying to make them.
Right.
Even if somebody you just met on the internet and you're going to go and just say hello to them, that's a big difference. I mean, obviously we didn't just meet on the internet, so that would not be our situation. But
but I have a friend that I met through another friend online on Facebook, and like been talking to that guy and watching his family grow over the years, and I would definitely go and meet with him if I was in his area. It's like kind of northern. It's not really northern-ish England area, but yeah, he's like kind of rural. But anyway, it's.
I have friends in Middlesbrough. I have a friend in Peterborough. Is it Peterborough? I think I just made that up. Peter something in England.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. I can't remember where he is. Hold on.
No, it is Peterborough, England.
I don't even know how to pronounce the town that he's in. Let me look and see. I can find. Well, this is better because it's like Okay, because he's in a town in the borough of a place in Lancashire, England. Okay, you get it? So it's like rotten stall. I don't know, like raw meat, but anyway, rotten stall. So it's probably they probably say it different than that. It's kind of like when you're looking at where it looks like Gloucester, but it's Gloucester, or Gloucester,
Gloucestershire.
Gloucester. It's yeah, Gloucester. And I'm like, it's not Gloucester or Gloucester or something. It is Gloucester, y'all. But it's Rawtenstall in the town in the borough of Rossendale, Lancashire, England. And so that's where he is. So it is like it says it's 15 miles north of Manchester. For a reference of some place that people have heard of. You know what I mean? So I would
An American city that would still be in town. only gone 15 miles, you're still in town.
Right. Oh, but their little towns are like straight up like out of like any kind of BritBox TV show thing that I watch. They have like very close-knit communities and everybody has their little towns, and then all the towns know each other in their other towns. But you know what I mean? Like a lot of these people grew up there. And then everybody like vacations in Blackpool.
I'm used to going close places before I go far away. I know that sounds like a silly thing to say since I live on the opposite side of the planet, but I figure I'm already in Vietnam. I don't need to travel long distances to have a good time.
Right, because that's what I'm saying. They have their pubs and stuff, and he plays music at the pubs and stuff over there and everything. So when you so when you're there, when you are where you are, you don't have to go too far to get to where okay, here you go, right here. He was in Haslingden, and I can guarantee you that they probably say it different than that. But that was when he was with his wife, and then they separated. And then he moved to a place in Rawtenstall, and then, or no, they both moved there. That's what it is. They separated after that when they moved, and they bought a house in Rawtenstall. Then he moved to Rossendale. That's what it is. So she's still there, but all of those places, if you look at the map, they're all just down the highway from each other, about 15 miles, 15 and 15. So you see what I mean? So originally, I think they lived in Haslingden, and that's where they grew up. And now they're 30 miles away, or 15 and 30 miles away. That's a big move for them. So, you know what I mean? Anyway, there's a lot of difference in those little cities. Each city has their own little fun things and stuff. That's their thing. Because
fun things.
I love fun things in this probably mispronounced Rawtenstall, Rossendale thing.
I'm thinking of getting a Coke. I got one in the fridge. I'm gonna get up. I don't know how professional it is to get up in the middle of a live stream, but y'all hold on.
I would love for you to be able to reach back and look like you're pulling the Coke out of the trees over there.
Oh no, I got this good fruity. I think it's not limes. It's a salt lemon flavor. Anyway.
Oh my gosh! I just got some stuff delivered last night. I was just getting cat food delivered because I forgot to actually get food and stuff for everybody. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, I was feeding them. I was feeding the cats, not the kids. Yes. But anyway, let me see that. Bait.
Is it backwards? Backwards, right?
No, I see it. It says fave. I mean, it just is straight up. I'm looking at it and it says fave.
Oh, okay. So that's what it's
supposed to do. And that is, what did you say that is? Had salt with it?
Oh yeah, salt lemon. There's a lot of drinks that are salted here. It's actually quite good.
Oh, but this girl picked up. I didn't even know what the box of it was like these little mini Coca-Colas, but they were, I wanted 0 sugar ones, but it had some pink stuff on the box. And I didn't like zoom in. I was just like, I'll get that one. I don't care. And I clicked it. Yeah. And I think that was some kind of rose flavor or some stuff, right? I didn't even know. Mm-hmm. I probably would not have liked that anyway, but I would have drank it because I'd be like, look, it's rose. But then she was like, they're out of these special blah, blah, blahs. Would you like another type? And I was like, just give me another one that's like that, but another little mini. I like the little minis. I was like, just another one that has the minis. And she brought melon flavored Coke. and it's zero sugar melon flavor. I've never seen it. And so I was like, well, I'll be. And now it's in the fridge. And now I thought about it, I might grab that myself.
They had coffee flavor. This is not really terribly related to the melon flavored Coke, but they had coffee flavored vodka at the store the other day. And I got it and mixed it with Coke, and it was like the coffee Coke. It was really good.
Ooh, that sounds good. I like to put butterscotch schnapps in my cocoa. That's just some other things where you mix other things with other things, and it's liquor related. Do not mind eating a chip. I'm eating a chip.
You're eating a chip?
Yeah, I'm trying not to like make it too crackly on here. So I was like, but I realized it did that typical Pringles crunch. It was like crunch. I don't know why it's like Paul Lynde. It's very crunch.
I'm a Pringles crunch. Our next one is how to set a travel budget.
You got to have expendable money first.
Or just spendable
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, how are you going to give people advice on that? That's financial advice. You you decide what your budget should be, and then build in a cushion. Don't forget to build in a cushion. But what the cushion should be, I honestly I can't tell you. I can share a website that I use a lot if I can remember the name of it. Budget your. I always put budget my trip. Budget your trip. A low budget website, which shows you how good they are at budgeting. But I find it to be good. They take. Oh, are you still there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I muted myself. Because I can't click with any skill apparently. All right, let's get. Oh, I clicked sharing, and I'm not sharing anything. Do you know how to share things?
I don't.
Do I click present? You know, I'm always on the phone, so I don't know how to do any of this stuff.
Oh no, and this is on StreamYard, so I don't. Wait, well, when I share my screen, that was with everybody, right? How did you do that?
Sharing works best on a good computer. Let me go get a new one. Some screens let you share audio. I don't care about that. I want to share. Where the people are. So you should be now viewing the website. This is Budget Your Trip. It's just www.budgetyourtrip.com. And I use it to do research on places I'm going. So let's say we're going to, we've got some examples here. They take data from actual travelers, people who use the website. So, you know, it's if you have low numbers of people putting the information in, the data will be skewed. So you should be aware of that. But honestly, once you get enough people putting their information in, you get pretty good information. You get pretty good guesses on what things are going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, let's not go to the United States. I went someplace exotic. Let's go to Brazil. So you click on it, you go, oh, just that weird ad blocker. How about no? So you can switch to US dollars. There we go. And there you go. It just gives you a nice all gives you the medium. You can choose budget, mid-range, or luxury, but all just does the medium. It'll tell you what your daily cost is going to be, $85, and you can get you can break it down to each different category, and one of them is scams, robberies, and mishaps.
So, yeah.
There's some people that are going to tell you when they're giving travel advice, oh, always build in 10%, extra, or 50% extra, or the advice can range. But the truth is, it's different according to where you go. Like, I'm not saying anything bad still, but maybe the average cost of scams and mishaps in one place, like just for example, maybe Brazil, is more than in Vietnam. I don't know if that's true, but
Probably because they probably have scammers there. There's a lot of people ripping
yeah,
people
not
off over there.
scammers, but it is.
No, scammers. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
scammers.
wait, like, okay, like, my friend, when she went to Prague, a lot of the people, and I've seen you haggle with other people where they were trying to like overcharge you for rides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like one of these taxi people was really trying to screw her over, but she had looked it up before she went and was ready to
Mhm.
haggle, and then said, "No, this is what I'm going to give you." And they said, "Okay, fine." But
Well,
I
as an
mean, in
American,
Brazil, you could be out on the beach and like you got to be aware of certain areas, and they'll just rip you off. You will get robbed, so you got to be
right?
careful in certain spots.
Yeah, that's the point. Is that it's more likely in some places than others. I've
Right.
always heard that in a lot of European cities, pickpockets are common.
Yes,
That's
yes.
not so
We
much the
just
case in.
watched a video of somebody hollering, "Pickpocket, pickpocket, thief, thief," and there was these girls like walking up behind some old lady, just little sweet old ladies walking up the stairs, and they were stealing this woman's stuff out of her pockets
Hmm.
and her bag. Anyway, but it was funny
Well,
because there's a woman that specifically catches. Oh, that was in Italy. That was actually, I remember it now because
I've
the
heard
woman.
Italy is a place for pickpockets.
That's what it was. So, I mean, everywhere. I mean, obviously over here too. Everywhere there's gonna be pockets of crime to steal your things and things like that. Be careful.
Yeah, and so one thing I like about this site is people put in information on like how if they got. And of course, this is just averaging it, but if they ran into something like this, then they put it in, and you get an actual number. So you put in an average. Now, one thing I wish they would do is allow you to like use the slider for, because you really don't want to go for the average, like the mean. You want to go, what is it, at least one standard deviation above the mean,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how you build in a cushion. But okay. I will say, even as someone who has traveled fairly cheaply for a long time, when I do their budget stuff, man, I would struggle to get inside of their budget option. So that's just a warning. I try to just do the average, the middle of the road average, and stay under it. But that's just me. But another good thing about this site, if you're looking at it right now, is like it puts in costs of individual things, which is helpful. Bus from the airport, ferry ride, taxi ride.
That is some extremely important things to know because
Right.
you need to know how to get around right when you get off of whatever means of conveyance you've been on. No, seriously. Remember how like because each different area. Okay, we were used to your tuk-tuks, and then when we got out of there and you were in like Malaysia, then it was like all highway.
Right.
That's a shock when you need stuff.
Yeah, that was a shock. Sure, absolutely. Wait, what did you just say? Oh, meals for one day, $19. Okay,
Oh,
that's not too bad.
What did they say? Meals?
Meals for one day in Brazil, average cost $19 per day.
I just don't believe that. That must be. Oh, did you put in the low end?
No, this is just the average.
Of course, then I am like the food person. I'm like, oh no, we got to spend like $50 a day. But that was actually my stopping.
I used to live. Do you remember my old roommate Robert?
Yeah.
I lived with him when the Travel Channel had this show on with Samantha Brown called $50 a day, and it was how you can have a great time on vacation for just $50 a day. And they did not include, that was not including accommodations. She didn't really, as far as I can recall, include any transportation in it. So that was just your, spending money, include food and drinks and, maybe a little shopping or whatever.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
He used to laugh about it. He's like, she's showing us how to, just barely get by on $50 a day. $50 a day. Who is spending $50 a day just to eat?
Right.
I mean, that's fine.
Right. That is, but I mean, I would. But then again, I'm not thinking of just one person. So that would be like 19 for one person for a day. You should
Right.
only eat like an egg and toast, or maybe just toast, and then like have like a little shake or something in the morning, and then hit the road and go do your stuff. I mean, depending on what your favorite meals are too, then you can have a cheap lunch and then have a really nice dinner. But I'd still spend more than 19. I'd probably spend 30 a day.
Yeah, I probably would too. It's just that I wouldn't think I'd done something amazing and make a show about it.
Right.
You
And
know,
then
this is
also
me
there's
spending a lot
nothing
of money.
even
But
realistic about that either, because um you're being disingenuous calling it $50 a day. That means $50 or whatever you're cramming in your mouth a day. But
right,
you
exactly.
have your
Yeah.
accommodations and everything.
When you're budgeting for a vacation, you got to include everything. That's your whole budget. But anyway, I think this website is good for that. So there's a piece of advice. Now I don't, obviously this is good to use. I wouldn't like leave the house with just this information, but this is a good starting point, like to guess at what your 2 week vacation or your 2 week for two people vacation or whatever, what it might cost.
Hmm.
And it's a lot of just averages. So if you're one person traveling, it'll like average it so that it's telling you that your hotel room is going to cost half or should cost half of what uh, the two-person travel, and that's just not the way it works. The hotel room still costs the same, but it averages it out and then breaks it down per person. So I wouldn't try and find a hotel room that costs half of what a budget hotel room for two people costs, because that's not how that works. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
No. You know what I realized I have done is with our layout, I have set uh, us behind the message here, so people can't see us. How sad for
Oh,
them. I'll have to fix that. I'll think about that at some point in the future.
or
But
hiding.
we heard from you. How about this is a one for a good laugh, I think. How to book flights and accommodations. Come again? How to book flights and accommodations. That's like, how could you not know how to do that? That's just basic internet. I don't think that's one you have to tell people.
Right, because well, if you're having to tell someone in detail, they need to learn that crap themselves first and then go and do it. Because like I'm not
That's basic computer literacy. I don't know that I can teach that. I recommend
right.
people do it.
I've had to do that though for like when I was helping people with their insurance, and then and there are people that don't know how to do that, but I'm guaranteeing you this is just our planning list, so they're going to need to delve into some old YouTube videos and some articles and figure it out.
Well, if you have questions about it and you don't really know how to do it, then this is the channel for you. This is the playlist for you. These are where we're going to do this. Now, at present, we're not planning a lot of travel, but and that's something we should probably talk about too, is frequency. Like, how often should we do this show?
What's the frequency, Wesley? I would like put it. I was gonna sing it, then I was like, wait, don't do that because you sound icky today. And I was like, yeah, you get it. REM reference, yada yada.
Aryan reference, blah blah. Well, so this is what I plan to do, is to show how we're booking online, not our credit card information, just but when we're going on and searching for things, I plan to have that here. So we're doing our search, and if for some reason like you just are not familiar with how to search travel stuff, I mean, this is the show to watch. We'll be doing it. We're not doing it this episode, but we'll be doing travel booking in the future. Right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think that one's we can zip past that one. Here's the one that you see so much of. I'll let you take it. How to pack light. I'll let you take it first.
Oh, and I actually have had to pack because I had a travel job and also
Yeah.
had to look decent. And I was like, okay, look, I'm poor. And I'm going to be able to have one bag to take. Like, I didn't, if I'd had to fly, it would have still been the same thing too, because I didn't want to have to carry all that crap into the hotel room, even
Right.
when I was just going to different states here. But I think that choosing practical things that you're going to wear, but maybe the small details would be things that are easier to carry with you, like maybe some accessories and stuff. But the most practical things for the area you're going to, and when you pack what you only need. And then there are different, I know other people do different things, because I like the army roll thing, but you are going to have to like iron your stuff if you do that. So there's, no matter what, you're going to have to iron your stuff. You're going to pack light,
Yeah.
because you're going to have to like pack it in, you know what I mean? But I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
can
don't think there's any way around that.
Yeah, there's not. Your stuff's don't get wrinkled and
Well,
creased.
that's yours is business travel. I kind of get your advice, and
Oh, I mean, even if you're like going, like if I was going to go to, if I'm coming to you, right? And I know that it's hot. I know that it's wet-ish. It's moist sometimes, or all the time, or if it's going to rain a lot. So I'd want to have certain types of clothes and certain stuff that I can switch out of easily or clean easily and would still look good daily. You know what I mean? Like I'm just going practical. And then if you want to have something that looks, different, maybe buy some kind of a little fancy thing when you get there, and then make sure you can roll it up to put in your bag. I don't know. I'm just saying I would do practical clothes and then pack it in light or not just light, but neatly with army roll or a really flat folding technique.
I'm going to. I mean, all that's good advice for getting as much as you can into your luggage. And to me, it's according to what kind of travel you're about to do. Because I think there's a big difference between the single destination, sort of like if you were coming here to visit me, maybe we would stay here in Hanoi the whole time and just explore Hanoi. And then you're coming into one place. You could probably get the apartment. If you want to stay like a whole month, you could get the apartment that Terry used to live in, or any long-term stay thing. But if you're going to stay somewhere long-term, not long-term, if you're going to stay somewhere extended stay, like a month or so, and you're not bopping around here and there, then yeah, I mean, pack everything you want and bring as much as you want, and as long as you can drag it on the plane and off and make it through one taxi cab ride, then you're probably good. So you don't it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to worry about it. But I think the packing advice is usually geared towards people who are going to go from one place to another. Like this is the travel I used to do, and I still love doing it. So I'm probably will, but I also think it's like for younger people. I'm less interested in doing it now than I was a few years back. But I would do like 1 or 2 nights in this place, and then get to the next place another 2 or 3 nights maybe, and then the next place maybe just one night, and just boop 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 boop, and you're going like a road trip but without the car. That's the way I've traveled more often. I think that's what packing advice is usually for. And my advice on that is the thing that you say. They say pack light. There's only one way to do that. It's like what did Gandhi say? There's no road to peace. There's peace. There's no way to peace. Peace is the way. Something shit like that. That's what I'm saying. Packing light. There's no way to pack light. You just got to put less stuff in that luggage. That's
right.
it.
That's what I'm saying. Like something practical. Limit your stuff. You can't.
Yeah.
People will figure out real quick. They have to limit their stuff anyway.
If you try and figure out ways to pack more and more stuff into your little backpack, whatever, it's going to weigh a ton. And if it's a backpack, the airlines usually don't check the weight, but it still weighs a lot, and which means you're going to have to drag it everywhere, and that's not going to be pleasant. So just put less stuff in there. That's really the only advice I can give for that. But then also, if you are just doing like one location, like you're coming to visit me, and you're gonna unload your luggage when you get here, and then we're just gonna go around, buzz around North Vietnam, and not change locations. Like whatever you want, as long as you can get through that one trip, you don't have to worry about it. But you may have to pay on the airline. But but bring if you do that though, bring as much as you want, because you're going to want it to enjoy yourself, but leave some space for all the crap you're going to want to take back.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Yeah.
That's the other part. Because you have to have you might want to bring back a bunch of stuff. You want to
You're
buy things.
definitely, yeah. If you have any kind of a shopping budget, you're going to bring some stuff back.
That was like me going to Disney, and I was like, and let me tell you something. My parents sent me there. I mean, I was only 14 when I went with Bethany, or 13 or 14, and they sent me there for 2 weeks to Florida and Disney. Now we paid for my part to go on the trip, yes, but they sent me one person, one child, with $85 for 2 weeks to Disney.
Isn't that? So I didn't even pay for the ticket.
And well, no, my ticket was already paid for. It was like a whole, that was already paid for. But I had so the only thing, luckily, is that I took some food with me because it was a road trip, so we didn't have to fly. So, but I took some food with me, and that's it. And so for days upon days, I would only eat a freaking pretzel from the park and drink water because my parents were being cheap asses and like to the max, and because I was gonna buy something. So I spent $45 on stuff in Epcot, in the different countries and stuff that you go to in there. And then I didn't have any room to take any of it back, but I just got a bag at the drugstore, a big old bag, and took it back with me like that. But that was not, but that was different because I didn't have to go on a plane either. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah. Because you live
I got a
closer to
pinata.
You got a pinata?
I got a pinata and some like blown glass stuff and a poncho, all kinds of stuff, like, because it was raining, started raining. That poncho was awesome. I was like, oh, this is great. But yeah, that could have been a much better experience if they had even just given me double that amount of money. I could have made it work 2 weeks. One of those
Obviously, made it
evenings,
work
I
hard.
mom had to buy me dinner, and then made me feel bad about buying me dinner. And so when we got back, I was mad because she was being a butthole about it, and I was like, good God, I didn't know. And so I was like, here you go, here's $12.95 for that crappy chicken parm I got that last night before last that we left. I mean, everything else was already paid for though, so it was really just my foods. So I had cereal every day from the hotel, and then had the pretzel at the park, and then I would eat a little cheap dinner. And I budgeted that myself with $40-something for the 2 weeks. Do you see
So
what I mean?
then
And I had bags of food.
our next topic is how to save money on the road. And Erica, I think you've already covered it.
Right. Oh, take stuff with you if you can. Yeah. And then buy cheap.
I also feel like that's going to be another one where the answer is tune into this program, because we're going to talk about that a lot. Because half of what we talk about is money, but that's a big part of travel, and that's where a lot of anxiety comes from as well when people travel. So we'll be talking about it, and we'll give what advice we have. But this is one where I know that if we ever get people tuning in, they're going to want to tell their stories and tell give their advice, and that's how you figure out figure out things to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a one. Again, it's one of those where like you just give advice. It's specific to where you're going and what you're doing. There's general advice you can give, like take stuff with you. That's good general advice. Although you're limited on what you can do if you're flying. But I should also interject to here and mention that I don't really like flying, and to whatever degree I possibly can, I'm going to travel without flying. I always try to. At some point, that's not possible, but especially if I'm here in Vietnam, I would gladly take an overnight train down to Da Nang or something rather than fly. The flight's short, but the train ride is nice and pleasant.
And even if someone is flying, though, they can, wherever their destination is, they can just still go to the store and grab some things rather than spend a lot everywhere, and then just choose where you're going to spend your food budget that evening or that day. you know what I mean? You don't have to have out to eat stuff the whole time. It might be cheaper for you to keep some little stuff there and then go do that. I don't know another way to save anything else because you're just gonna spend on everything else. Like I don't even know what else to save on other than food and drink while you're out, because I mean there's ways to save on it, but not you're not gonna okay. You know that you're gonna have to go and do things and you're just subject to whatever their transit costs anyway. You know what I mean? You can't really change that. So you can know ahead of time, but to budget all your stuff, like
I
the
think
easiest way to budget is your food part. You know what I mean?
I think another thing to point out too is that it's not always worth it to save the money. So I mean, it's always
Right. And
good
I'm
to
not
know what
really
you're.
going to get someone feeding me before I sit there and you know, if the juice ain't worth the squeeze, then my butt is eaten out. And then I
To
don't
say if
know.
the juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, like I don't want to have to go through any of that crap to have some like jerky and water at home and then have that leave out. Like I'm maybe it's worth more to spend about $5 to $15 on a little bit of breakfast and lunches. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. That's right. Sometimes it's, especially since you're on vacation, you're there to have a good time. And that doesn't mean spend, without regard to what stuff costs, but it does mean like you've spent a lot up to that point to get to where you're at. So you might as well spend that extra, 50 cents for the cab ride. Because we're talking about places where the bus costs 50 cents or 30 cents or something like that. But if to hire a bike, to call a bike on Grab to take you where you need to go costs $1. So just spend the $1, get there
Right.
quickly, and
Yeah.
see the thing to see. Yeah. So we'll talk about that a lot. That'll be, a common theme on our show. I'm gonna create it. I put more topics on this list while we're talking than we actually cover. But I'm not going to mention it because I don't want to talk about it yet. It'll probably be next episode. Come on, you have to capitalize StreamYard. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you do. Okay, here we go. All right, so we'll talk about that a lot. How to save money. And this is a good one, how to stay safe. But it is probably something people, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, that's definitely going to be according to whatever area you're going to and knowing ahead of time, just based on what other people's experiences have been and learn about the demographics and the history of the area, crime wise, anyway. Because you're just going to have to look that up. And even then, staying safe would also be being aware and being on the defense and keeping everything locked down on your body. I mean, little places to hide your monies and stuff.
Well, and it's true too, because if you're a tourist, you probably look like a tourist. No offense, but most tourists are easy to spot. And so you could be in a place that's not normally dangerous, but if there is somebody there that's looking to commit the common kinds of crimes, especially like pickpocketing or scams, then they're going to swoop in on you like, instantly. So,
boy, you will get Oliver twisted immediately. Because they're pickpockets.
Oh, he's a pickpocket. You're right. Okay.
That's what all of them do. That's how they survive in Oliver Twist. Because there's the artful dodger, and that's the one that shows him how to steal and stuff, and they're all just pickpocketing. So you look out for those little wiry Brits digging in your pockets, no matter where you are. You never know.
They're just not doing it to give you a good time.
I just picture him in like Newsies hats. Remember the Disney thing, like the Newsies having those paperboy outfits.
I remember when I went to Shanghai, I got they spotted me as a tourist, which I was because I didn't live in that part of the country. they spotted me, and man, the ladies that do the tea scam. Apparently, if you do the whole thing, they come up and they talk to you for like 2 seconds. I guess that's getting to know you, and they said, "Well, would you like to try some tea?" Well, sure. And then you follow them to what do they call it, a secondary location, and it's a tea house, and they serve you tea, and at the end of the tea, they give you the bill for $2,500 or some shit.
My God.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are expensive teas out there, to be fair, but you probably don't know the difference, and you certainly didn't order them. But they're going to
I
tell
certainly wouldn't have 2,500, so I'm like, well, I guess I'm either gonna bolt or beat the shit out of you, and then also run because I'm not paying you $2,500. I don't have it. I guess I go to jail. I go to T jail. I don't know how that would work elsewhere, but that's crazy.
I mean, I think it's just regular jail for stealing. It's not special T jail. But you wouldn't go to jail at all. If you called the police right then, they would show up and probably arrest the ladies doing it for running a scam.
That's true. That's true. But there are some people, the same people that would fall prey to that would be the ones that like give out all their information over the phone to somebody about some scam too. So you never know. Like, but there's a sucker. So there's a sucker at ellipses ... You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, so those are your major problems. But I mean, there are parts of the world too where actual violent crime is also an issue.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't mention Brazil earlier for any reason at all, but there are places like that.
Right. I mean, my husband, which is hilarious every time I say that because, I just haven't gotten my divorce. But anyway.
I always forget when you say my husband, I'm like, what? Oh, right.
Yeah, I know. It's easy to forget about him. Sorry, Antonio. But no, he's his daughters were, I mean, they live there. They're in Sao Paulo, and they were out on the beach and they got robbed. They just got robbed. That was it. Yeah.
I hate to say that's good, but it's good that's all that happened.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, usually, they didn't. Yeah, nothing else bad happened to the two girls, the two 15 and 17-year-old girls out alone on the beach out there. Yeah. And they just got robbed. So that's good. They took their shoes too.
Oh.
Yeah, they took their money and their shoes because they had good shoes. It happens.
Money in the power, money in the shoes.
Was that like a little bit of Gangster's Paradise?
Yeah, I when I first got to China, I started singing, I've got Mao on my money and money on my. I never really came up with the rest of it, but I was like, "This guy," and then of course it's workers' paradise there. So, so for some reason, now that pops into my head all the time. Make up new lyrics. Gangsta's Paradise.
Oh God! That's like one of my favorite things to do is to come up with silly lyrics for recognizable songs. Anyway, there's like this one song that there's this "Bodies Hit the Floor" song by Korn, and that's the only song I really know by them, and I know how it goes, all of the stuff. And we actually, Santana and I just did an entire song on us putting my boxes on the floor in here.
Stack your boxes on the floor.
Did you see? And we're like, whoa.
Yeah, I love it. Great. I'm gonna buy the album.
Yeah. Weird Al's shaking his boots. He's like, you're biting on my little territory, folks.
Well, I could be the inheritors of that tradition. So, like, safety is something it's going to be different wherever we go. I guess is the main thing. It's another thing where you just can't give too much general advice because it's the crimes that might happen are different, and the likelihood is different, and it's just wherever you go, it's going to be different.
Remember when you were outside and you were essentially you were homeless for that one night. Was that in Malaysia?
There was one night in Malaysia and one night in Singapore.
Right. And so those places were safe. Singapore which would be completely different if you were in, like, say, stranded and out in the middle of wherever in New York.
Right. I wouldn't want to be on the street in the U.S. for sure. New York or Des Moines or anywhere. But yeah, I mean, Singapore, you could get in areas where there were actually people out. Although Singapore is not a 24-hour city, I wouldn't say, but there were enough people out that you didn't even feel like there's anything.
Well, and specifically pandemic wise, they had a lot of stuff closed down over these times. So, like, you were definitely just outside unless there was a Mickey D's, and then you would go into the McDonald's, and then even that was closing. And the 7-Elevens that were supposed to be open 24 hours were also closing.
Yeah. Well, there was also a Hong Kong night that I spent on the balcony of the Pod, and I consider that semi-homeless, and I was pretty well freaking out, but there were some nice people out there that I started talking to. Like, okay, well, I at least can sit here and chat for most of the night. And I ended up going and getting a beer at the 7-Eleven for me and another guy that spent most of the night out there. Although I think he had a pod. I should have been like, if you're going to stay out here, I'm going to go sleep in your pod.
And no one else, right? Okay, I'll go get your. But no one else, like, you wouldn't be able to do that here. Maybe if someone felt like being a kind person, but you're not be like, you're not going to be at a hotel hostel, anything like that. Over here, well, they don't even have those over here unless they're trying to be risky anyway. But you wouldn't be at someone's hotel over here and go, I don't have any money, and then they go, oh, go sleep on the roof. You'll be okay.
Well, just go sleep on the balcony. Yeah, no, they wouldn't do that. Mm-mm. True, that is true. They would call the police and have them come kick the shit out of you for being homeless.
Yep, and then you would be arrested and you'd be fined and all that, because that's what they do with the homeless people here. And then they just make it less homeless friendly to be able to lay in the woods, like, because they cut down all the woods in certain areas over here, and there's no trees near the Walmart either, because there were people that were staying there a little bit, and then nope, it is all cut down. And but
elsewhere, the area to make sure the homeless people have nothing to sleep under. That's America.
I mean, you've seen the architecture, the intentionally brutal architecture to keep them from
the anti-homeless technology.
Yeah, all the stuff like spiked things on ledges and breaking up the benches to where you can't lay on them. And I'm like, little did you know, my butt can fall asleep sitting up, so I will still be on that bench.
A lot of places use lean rails now. They won't even put benches out.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And again, I'll lay on the ground even. So I'm like, I'm homeless. I'm not, I'm still going to have to I still have to exist. You know what I mean?
Well, that is exactly what they want. They do not. Well, they design all this stuff as if they don't want you to exist at all, but then you play an essential role of terrifying the rest of the working class into, shutting up and keep them doing their jobs for nothing. So you're playing an important part in the system. Fictional,
right? As long as you're visible and they don't try and, like, of course, the working class people are taught to look down on anybody. So, oh, look at this filthy guy sleeping on the ground. Oh my God. There's only like countless empty office spaces and homes, but can't use those for these homeless people. That would be insane.
Crazy. Well, I don't have anything to say about travel etiquette. I don't really know what travel etiquette, what that even meant. But
oh my God, don't be a U.S. butthole. Maybe that could be it.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's true. Right, exactly.
I mean, basically know what their customs are wherever you're going, and try not, be an asshole. That's it. That's like all you can do.
Yeah. that's about it.
Like,
Well, it's
don't
something
use
we're talking about a lot too. That's another, the thing that we'll just bring up again and again. It's not that you have to act in a specific way. No one really expects you to know all the specific customs of the place you're going, although the more you can learn, the better. But then there are certain things that a lot of people do, and I would say a lot of travelers. But in my mind, it's because travel skews towards the wealthier end of the spectrum, and people can tend to get used to just getting whatever they want, and or people who are used to that, they can misbehave when they travel. They misbehave when they travel in much the same way they do at home, but it can be worse when you travel, and it is worse when you travel, I think.
right. And also know that misbehaving elsewhere gets you whooped and locked away, other than just looked at
Right.
funny.
I mean, it can get you in trouble, yeah, more than just poorly representing your nationality. It can just you can get in trouble. You don't have the same rights that you have at home everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. So I guess that falls under etiquette. Common travel mistakes to avoid. I mean, I think half the show is going to be me making those mistakes. That was certainly unfair. Me making mistakes constantly and warning you not to. Plenty of places I was like, you know what? Despite what you're hearing on TV, the pandemic is not a good time to travel. Just not. Stay at home. So we'll have plenty of those. But as far as common mistakes, I don't know if I can think of any that are universal. Mistakes there might be some, whereas I don't like advice in general. Advice on what to do, I don't like. But advice on what you shouldn't do, there may be some stuff. I can't really think of it right now. I guess it'll be something we come across as we do our planning.
I mean, the aforementioned other things on the list are some things that, like the do's and don'ts, but also, I don't know, be real careful about what you're eating and drinking. You don't want to end up having to have the green apple quick step, outside of where you're at. I don't know. I'm really all gut health oriented, so I've been worried about that all the time. Individually, worry about the things that might affect you the most. There you go. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? If you get what?
Did something happen to your audio? You went really distant, quiet.
I don't know. Hold on. Is my phone dying? No, phone's good. Because I have you on my phone because my stupid computer, I can't fix the driver. Like, it won't let me rid it of the current. Is this better?
A little bit, yeah.
That's weird. Oh, maybe the phone did a little twirly. I've got it propped up on the pop socket. Pop socket. I have to do that every time. I'm sorry. There you go. Pop sockets. Is that good? Can you hear me though?
I can hear you. Well, that was all of the things that were on my list. Now we've got some things to talk about here on our channel, and this is mostly stuff I wrote down just now while we were doing the show. We've got the Armchair Traveler Movie Club, and I think I would like. So anyway, here's what that is. Let me explain what that is first. We're not really making a club, but me and you are the club, and Scott. And if people want to join in and watch the movies with us and listen to us discuss them. But this is something I would like to do on this channel because it's kind of vacation prep or travel prep. To watch movies about the place that you're going to go, set there about it, just we can be loose with our definition of which movies qualify. But it's not like for Hanoi, something about Hanoi in some way. And then talk about it. I think that would be fun because we like to talk about movies anyway. So,
yeah, I love that idea. And yes. So that's some of my favorite things. So yeah.
Actually, you know what? Maybe I can do this. Hold on just a second. So I think there was a version of this movie. Let me go back and share my screen. I think there was a version of this movie called The Ugly American. Is where we get the term The Ugly American from. But this is a 2002 version of that movie based on the book that was called The Quiet American. Let's IMDb this. I think this would be a good one to start out with. But, oh, hello.
Oh, no, I'm just reading, and I was just laughing about an American being quiet.
I feel like we can play the trailer. What do you think? You think there's a...
Yeah.
Okay. It may not do the audio. Can you hear the audio?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Say you come to Vietnam and understand a lot in a few minutes. The rest takes a lifetime.
I offer no point of view, I take no action, I don't get involved.
I'm Alden Pyle. So are you married?
Yes, I am, but not to her. I should have realized how saving a country and saving a woman would be the same thing to someone like Pyle.
American! Don't shoot!
Kyle!
Thomas!
What the hell are you doing?
You're saying Pyle is OSS?
I believe the new name is CIA.
What can you offer her?
I love Fong very much.
Sooner or later, Mr. Fowler, one has to take sides.
What the what? Okay, look, I'm all about movies and TV. Like, that is my life. I had never, ever heard of this movie. And I was like, oh, great, Michael Caine. And like, speaking of my foreign husband, but he would always laugh about his name because he says it like Michael Caine. So like my cocaine. And he always say it like that and laugh. But anyway, Michael Caine is amazing. But Brendan Fraser, during his hot heyday, is in this movie. I'm watching the hell out of this movie. What are you talking about? This is gonna
Okay, good. We're gonna watch it next, or we're gonna talk about it next time.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm excited. I think this would be a great idea, a great way for us to get on and talk about movies and tie it into where we're at. And to be honest, now that I'm looking at it, I don't know that it's set here in Hanoi, but it's in Vietnam, so it'll be good enough for our first movie. And then we'll just find someone like one every week and talk about it.
We could watch some. We could watch some China Beach too.
Talking about the movie, but we want to mix it in with the other stuff. So
that's great. That's a great choice for, especially since everybody is all about Brendan Fraser again. Even though I've always loved my little big-eyed boy. But
yeah. I honestly didn't realize he was not making movies. Then all of a sudden he came back, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he had a lot of bad issues. He had back injury problems with medications from that, and a messy divorce, and people were being jerks about it. Then he like is just an endearing, sweet guy, and then he's done some things and has gotten his recognition. But he is in that show on Max. If you go on there and look at on Doom Patrol, it's Doom Patrol. It's a good series that he's in, but he's like, it doesn't physically show him except for just a couple of times, and then he is a robot man, and is able to convey emotion and all this other stuff just with his voice. It's insane. Because he's a good actor. Damn it! I can't believe you found a movie that I have not heard of, haven't seen, that has two people that I adore in it. Holy crap! And it has something to do with that area too. Oh my god!
All right, this will be a good first movie. Erica, I'm gonna have to let you go because not just because I really have to pee from having drank the water in this, but also I have to go to work in about half an hour. So.
Oh my god! Yes, you need to go.
So yeah, I do, and we're gonna do this again next week, and we'll talk more about the channel and plan some stuff and talk about the movie.
Yes. Okay.
All right, great. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.